Okay, so I wanted to complain and whine to you about all these like ChatGPT and Grok and all the other fellas who, you think you can ask them questions, but just you wait. People are going to start asking them questions you don't want answered about yourself. So here's my concern, okay? Look, all of us have a digital footprint. If you search us up on Google, you're going to find information about most people except for like real hermits. I used to be one of those. I am no longer one of those. I have a somewhat prolific footprint. I get it. However, my concern is that, you know, to find out certain information about me, you'd have to spend a fair bit of time and, study my digital footprint, do a little sniff test, just you have to do a bit of a time investment. So you have to be quite interested. However, using something like Grok or ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs, um, you can just ask it, hey, what is Catherine's political affiliation, for example? Or is Catherine pro-life or pro-choice? And so on and so forth. And you'll be able to get an answer really, really quickly. So here's where my concern lies. This is essentially a tool that can be used as a social credit score of sorts, right? You can also say, well, if Catherine is a liberal, we assign this particular score. If she writes a lot about environment and she seems to care about that, let's give her a different score and let's assign a value to that. And then where I think we're headed is not necessarily that the government is going to be using these social credit scores in the West, though that's certainly always a possibility. I mean, and look at China, but more so that it's going to get used on a more corporate level. And it's so easy, right? You can run any individual through those systems very quickly. You can ask Grok or ChatGPT or some of the others, but you can also just build your own and have it be customized to make these kinds of assessments. And then you'll assign a score of 287 to me, and that means like, hey, we give you different insurance rates, or maybe you get a different rate on your credit on your mortgage, or maybe you don't get hired at certain companies unless your score is 587, right? See where I'm going with this. So I am deeply, deeply concerned about this. Another area of concern that I have was about information and having correct information, incorrect information. So something that's happening is that, you'll ask, in the past we used Google. Google is not perfect. Oh, I mean, we still use Google, so we're still using Google. But, you search certain information and you have different rankings. So certain search results show up a little bit earlier in your search results and other things show up later in your search results. But, and because a more trusted entity, or there's more trusted entities that link to a particular page, so it shows up higher in the search engine results. Okay. Now things disappear. Like I said, it is not a perfect thing. However, you understand where the information comes from. You can see what the source is, you can see the context, and so on. A lot of these LLM models actually don't provide you with any kind of citation. I actually like to use Perplexity because it does provide citation, but a lot of the tools like ChatGPT do not. You can ask it, but it won't give it. Grok won't give it to you either. That's pretty concerning. And another part of what makes it particularly concerning, say you have information that's wrong information. Say you realize this is actually false information. Maybe it's about you. Maybe you want to correct it. There is no current mechanism for correcting this information. That's why I sort of suggested maybe like a community notes for Grok to correct information could be an option. But right now, there's just no way. And what's happening is that where does it get the data set? So whatever is being inputted, but also the internet. And we already have so much generated content on the internet that it is soon going to overwhelm the content that is human generated. So you're going to have a lot more content generated by AI than humans. And when it does its next update, it's going to essentially, AI is going to be citing AI. And it's full of hallucinations, errors, misinterpretations. So what do you do about that? And I think the consequences of that are quite significant. And I think we are going to be shifting to, instead of, just typical Google search words, we are going to be asking questions and not knowing, A, where the answers are coming from, not being able to correct when we know something is wrong, and having the AI basically learn from itself. I think it's a terrible idea, and we should be addressing it on some level. And I just don't see that being talked about enough. And I'm not entirely sure what the AI engineers are doing about it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens, but we really should be talking about it more and asking more questions, because you don't want to be asking questions and getting AI hallucinations and repeating itself in an endless loop. I don't think that's very good for us.